The Abbott family in the young and the restless has long been a symbol of power, loyalty, and intrigue in Genoa City. But as is often the case with the Abbott name, their family dynamic has always been marked by moments of betrayal, suspicion, and fractured trust. Recently, one of the most suspenseful and gripping storylines involves the rising doubts that Jack Abbott has about Clare, who currently lives in his home and has become an integral part of the Abbott family. To outsiders, Clare may seem like a trustworthy and loyal ally, but to Jack, a man who has built his empire on calculated decisions and sharp instincts, there are too many things that don't add up. The situation between Jack and Clare has been escalating for some time. At first, Clare seemed like the perfect fit within the Abbott family. She was kind, supportive, and seemed to have a natural affinity with Jack's son, Kyle, who had fallen deeply in love with her. Clare's relationship with Kyle appeared to be the ideal partnership, one that had the potential to strengthen the family's position, not only in personal matters but also in business. Clare's easy integration into the family was almost seamless, her presence bringing warmth to the household and support to Kyle's endeavors. But Jack, ever the skeptic, couldn't help but notice small details that, over time, began to raise suspicion. Jack's unease about Clare grows with each passing day. He watches her more closely, noticing her subtle shifts in behavior and her increasingly erratic actions. It's not that Jack has anything concrete to point to, but he feels something is off. He's been in business for too long, dealing with people who are skilled at hiding their true intentions, to not recognize the signs of someone who might not be as trustworthy as they seem. Jack begins to suspect that Clare, despite her apparent devotion to Kyle and the Abbott family, might have her own hidden agenda. But what could her motives be? This suspicion reaches a fever pitch when Jack catches Clare secretly texting Victor Newman. For Jack, the mere thought of anyone in the Abbott family communicating with Victor is deeply troubling. Victor, a longtime adversary of the Abbott family, has always represented the antithesis of everything Jack stands for. Ruthless, manipulative, and self-serving. Jack knows that any interaction with Victor could potentially be dangerous, especially if it involves a member of his family. So when he sees Clare's secret communication with Victor, his worst fears begin to materialize. It's not just the texting that makes Jack uneasy, though. Jack has always prided himself on the security of his home and his office. His office, in particular, is where he keeps sensitive documents. Information vital to his business, his career, and his family's future. These documents, if they were ever to be exposed, could cause irreparable damage to Jack's reputation and standing. The thought that Clare could have been involved in accessing these documents without his knowledge is both infuriating and terrifying. Jack can't ignore the fact that Clare has been sneaking into his office late at night, quietly rifling through files that could ruin him if they fell into the wrong hands. As the pieces of this puzzle start to come together, Jack's distrust of Clare reaches its breaking point. He's no longer willing to sit by and wonder if his fears are justified. He needs answers, and he needs them now. The quiet suspicion that had been gnawing at him for weeks erupts into full-blown anger. One evening, as Jack hears the sound of movement in his office once again, he finally loses control. He storms into the room, catching Clare red-handed. The scene is charged with tension as Jack shouts, his voice filled with disbelief and rage, "What are you doing, Clare?" Clare, caught in the act, is momentarily stunned. Her face flushes with guilt and panic, but she tries to mask it with a look of feigned innocence. She quickly tries to justify her actions, offering explanations that sound rehearsed, but Jack is no longer willing to listen. The weight of her betrayal is too much for him to bear. In that moment, it's clear to him that Clare has crossed a line that cannot be ignored. Jack's anger intensifies as he demands to know why Clare has been secretly texting Victor and what she's been doing in his office. Clare's response is evasive at best, and she attempts to downplay the severity of the situation. But Jack is no fool. He sees through her excuses and realizes that Clare has been playing a dangerous game all along. The realization that she has been betraying his trust, and potentially jeopardizing everything he's worked for, cuts Jack deeply. What makes the situation even more complicated is the fact that Kyle is so deeply in love with Claire. Jack knows that his son's feelings for her cloud his judgment, making it nearly impossible for Kyle to see the truth about her. Kyle is blind to the fact that Claire's loyalty might not lie with him or the Abbott family, but with her own ambitions. Jack has tried to warn Kyle, telling him not to trust Claire too completely, but his son's love for her has made him deaf to his father's warnings. This situation has placed Jack in an incredibly difficult position. He can't let Claire continue to undermine the Abbott family, but he also doesn't want to be the one to tear his son's heart apart. The emotional weight of this dilemma is something Jack has never had to confront so personally before. As the confrontation reaches its peak, Jack and Claire's verbal sparring is filled with bitterness and hurt. Jack is seething with anger, but there's also an undercurrent of deep disappointment. He never expected this from Claire, who had always seemed like the perfect addition to their family. He had trusted her, welcomed her into their home, and now he feels utterly betrayed. Claire, on the other hand, tries to defend her actions, but her words ring hollow. She knows that she has lost Jack's trust, and she can see that her place in the Abbott family is now uncertain. But what's even more troubling is the possibility that Claire's actions may have gone beyond simple betrayal. What if she has been working with Victor, the family's most formidable adversary, to undermine Jack's business? What if her loyalty is not to Kyle or the Abbott family, but to her own secret agenda? The consequences of this would be catastrophic, not just for Jack, but for everyone involved. The stakes are incredibly high, and Jack's resolve to protect his family is stronger than ever. In the aftermath of their confrontation, Jack and Claire are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered relationship. Jack's loyalty to his family, especially to Kyle, compels him to take action, but he also knows that his son's emotional well-being is on the line. Kyle must be protected from the truth about Claire, at least for now, but Jack can't ignore the reality of what Claire has done. He must figure out a way to confront the situation without causing irreparable damage to his son's heart. But one thing is certain, this betrayal has changed everything. The aftermath of Jack's confrontation with Claire is just the beginning of what will be a long and painful journey for the Abbott family. Kyle's trust in Claire is severely shaken, and he must come to terms with the fact that the woman he loves may not be who he thought she was. Jack, meanwhile, must find a way to protect his business and family from the fallout of Claire's actions, all while dealing with the emotional toll of his own disappointment and hurt. The coming weeks will undoubtedly see more twists and turns as Claire's true intentions are revealed and the Abbott family grapples with the fallout. But one thing is certain, the Abbott family's foundation has been shaken, and it will take everything they have to rebuild the trust that has been lost. In the world of the young and the restless, nothing is ever as it seems, and the drama that unfolds will leave viewers on the edge of their seats, eager to see how the Abbott family will navigate this treacherous new chapter in their lives. The tension between Jack Abbott, Claire, and the rest of the Abbott family reaches a boiling point in this dramatic and suspenseful episode of The Young and the Restless. It's a pivotal moment, one that will have far-reaching consequences for the Abbott family and the relationships that have been built over the years. Jack Abbott, ever the protector of his family and business, has just discovered Claire's betrayal. Her secret communication with Victor Newman, a man whose rivalry with the Abbott family is legendary. But the situation is far more complicated than Jack initially realizes, and Claire's desperate confession only adds more layers to the unfolding drama. As Jack storms into his office, the scene is electric with emotion. Claire, caught red-handed, stands there, trembling and panicked. She knows she's been exposed, and the weight of her actions is crashing down on her. But what Jack doesn't expect is her desperate plea for forgiveness, her voice shaking with raw emotion. She admits, with great difficulty, that she never wanted to betray Jack or his family, but the truth is far darker than anyone could have anticipated. "Jack, please," Claire begs, her eyes filled with genuine regret. "I didn't want to do this. I swear, I didn't. Victor forced me into it. He threatened me. He said that if I didn't help him, if I didn't cooperate, I'd die. He would kill me. Her words hang in the air like a thunderclap, leaving Jack stunned. For a moment, his anger falters, replaced by a flicker of confusion and disbelief. Could Victor really have gone that far? Could Claire, someone he thought was loyal, truly be a victim in all this? But before Jack can process everything, the situation intensifies further as Kyle and Diane enter the room, their expressions a mixture of surprise and concern. They are completely caught off guard by the drama unfolding before them. Kyle, still deeply in love with Claire, doesn't hesitate. He steps forward, immediately defending her. "This is ridiculous," Kyle says, his voice firm and resolute. "Claire would never do anything to hurt us. She's not like that. She's been forced into this. I'm sure of it." His words are filled with urgency, and he gestures to the others, his protective instincts kicking in. "Everyone, please, just calm down. Let me talk to her. Let me find out exactly what happened here. I'll make sure you understand everything, but please, give me a chance to figure this out." Despite his assurances, Jack remains skeptical, his anger simmering beneath the surface. He knows his son is blinded by his emotions, but this situation is far too dangerous to let slide. Jack has worked too hard to build the Abbott family legacy and to protect its future to allow someone, anyone, to compromise it, even if that person is Claire. He has to get to the bottom of this, no matter what it takes. In a fit of frustration, Jack grabs Claire's phone from her hand, his face red with fury. His heart races as he unlocks it and begins scrolling through the messages between Claire and Victor. The messages are chilling: Victor's demands, the threats, the manipulative language. Jack's worst fears are confirmed as he reads through the conversations. Claire had been communicating with Victor for weeks, giving him access to confidential information about the Abbott family and Jack's business dealings. And now, Jack realizes, the documents he had worked so hard to protect could be in Victor's hands. Jack's hands shake with rage as he continues to read, the implications of Claire's betrayal sinking in. If those documents, critical business secrets, financial records, and sensitive strategic plans, have fallen into Victor's hands, it could mean the end of everything Jack has worked for. The thought of the Abbott name being tarnished by Victor's ruthless tactics makes Jack feel physically ill. But the worst part is the realization that Claire, someone he had trusted and welcomed into his family, had played a role in making this nightmare a reality. "Claire." Jack snaps, his voice sharp and filled with a mixture of disbelief and rage. "What the hell have you done? You've put everything at risk. You've put our family at risk." He glares at her, his fury only growing. "You've been handing over secrets to Victor? Do you even understand what this means?" Claire, standing there in the midst of the chaos she has created, feels the full weight of Jack's anger crashing down on her. She opens her mouth to explain, but no words come out. She's too overwhelmed by the gravity of the situation to speak. Her heart races, her mind scrambling for some way to justify her actions, but the truth is that there is no excuse. She made a choice, and now, it was too late to undo it. Kyle, still protective of Claire, steps in again, trying to defuse the situation. "Dad, please," he pleads. "Claire didn't want any of this. Victor manipulated her. She was just trying to survive. She never meant for this to get out of hand." But Jack is no longer listening. His focus is solely on Claire, his mind racing with the implications of her actions. "You think I don't understand what's at stake here?" Jack retorts bitterly. "Do you think I would let someone destroy everything I've worked for? You've given Victor ammunition to destroy our family. He'll stop at nothing to ruin us, and you've handed him the keys to do it." Claire's face pales, the reality of what she has done hitting her like a ton of bricks. She was trying to protect herself, to secure her place, but now, she realizes that in doing so, she has jeopardized everything she holds dear. Kyle's unwavering support now feels like a distant echo compared to the weight of Jack's disappointment. As Jack's anger boils over, Clare feels completely exposed, trapped in a situation of her own making. Jack's mind is now racing ahead. He's already thinking about the next steps. How to mitigate the damage, how to get those documents back before they cause irreparable harm to the Abbott family legacy. But for now, all he can focus on is Clare, the woman who had been welcomed into his family with open arms, only to betray them in the most devastating way possible. His trust in her has been shattered, and with it, the foundation of everything they've built together. Jack turns away, unable to look at Clare any longer. "I can't do this," he mutters under his breath, his voice filled with resignation. "You've crossed a line, Clare. There's no coming back from this." As Jack storms out of the room, leaving Clare and Kyle standing there in the wake of his fury, the tension in the Abbott household reaches an all-time high. Clare is left to grapple with the weight of her betrayal, the consequences of her actions still unfolding. Kyle, torn between his loyalty to Clare and his desire to protect his family, is left in an emotional limbo, unsure of what the future holds. The fallout from Clare's actions is only beginning, and the Abbott family is on the verge of a crisis unlike anything they've faced before. Will Clare be able to redeem herself, or is this the end of her place within the Abbott family? And how will Kyle reconcile his love for Clare with the devastating reality of what she has done? The answers lie in the coming days, as the Abbott family's future hangs in the balance. This is The Young and the Restless at its best, full of twists, betrayals, and emotional turmoil that will leave fans glued to their screens, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this high-stakes drama.